Hello, beautiful people. Today is 20th of April. My name is Sahil, and welcome to Newspaper Analysis. Guys, he is Aristotle, who was the pupil of the great philosopher Plato. Guys, Aristotle says education is an ornament in prosperity and a refuge in adversity. Now, this particular statement underlines the importance of education into the life of a human being. Friends, according to Aristotle, education is both. It is an opportunity by which an individual can make his life truly enriching, and at the same time, education is also a raft on which an individual can sail and can solve the gravest of the grave problem of his life. Guys, this particular quote could be used in the questions of GS paper number 2 into the sector of education as well as on the paper of essay. So, guys, let's begin with today's analysis. Guys, this is the page number 1 of the Hindu newspaper, and the first news item that we can see is that e commerce firms can't supply non essential goods. Now, guys, on the 15th of April, a circular was announced by the Ministry of Home Affairs, according to which it was directed that e commerce firms would be allowed to deliver the goods. However, it was not cleared that will they be able to allow all the goods or only the essential goods. Now it have been clarified that only essential goods could be supplied by them. Now, to do this particular thing, the government has used the powers given under the National Disaster Management Act 2005. Guys, earlier into the discussion on 16th of April, I had told you that right now whatever directions and orders are being issued, their power government is getting from the two legislations. One was the Epidemic Disease Act 1897 and other is the National Disaster Management Act 2005. Into the 16th April itself, we had seen that how majority of power government is getting under the Epidemic Disease Act. Guys, I'll recommend that you go and you see this particular discussion. Now, today we will discuss a little bit scope of NDMA 2005, under which the order, this particular order has been issued. Why we are discussing it? Because into GS paper number 3 you have topic of disaster management, and there you can use the references from the National Disaster Management Act 2005. Now, friends, first of all, Section 3 under the NDMA Act 2005 calls for the constitution of National Disaster Management Authority, which will be the nodal agency to administer the disaster mitigation in India. Now, after that, there is section number 8, which calls for the creation of National Executive Commission. And guys, National Executive Commission is an actual body which prepares the plan, monitors the implementation of the plan, and everything is done by the National Executive Commission, and it directly reports to the NDMA. Now, guys, the NEC will be headed by the person who is acting as secretary to the government of India, and usually secretary to the Home Ministry is heading the NEC. Now, guys, NEC derives all these powers under the section number 10, and by the virtue of section number 10, again, it can also decentralize the power, can empower the ministries, can empower the government and other agencies to issue the directions. And by this particular thing only, NEC has empowered the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So, friends, when different ministries and departments are issuing order, they have been empowered to do that particular thing by the NEC. Now, friends, all these references are not only limited to COVID 19 but can also be used as reference into the other disaster management questions also in GS paper number 3. Now, guys, one advice from my side. Personally, I have seen this thing that when you write all the 20 questions into the mains on an average note, you end up getting average marks. But if in 3 4 questions you use some specific references, it boosts your marks and you go above average crowd, which is very much essential to get an interview call. Fine, guys, this was all about this article. Now we'll move to the next. Now, guys, there is a news item which says that there happens to be a confusion between ICMR and Health Ministry, due to which a proper data with respect to COVID 19 infection is not coming out. Now, there is nothing important into this news item particularly, but we can see or we can use this as a reference as how government of India is missing a coordinated platform on which all the agencies could be connected with each other, and so that a synchronized policy could be taken up. So guys, this is nothing but a kind of a failure of government coordination. So that's all could be used as a case study in GS paper number 2. Fine, now we'll move to the next news item. Guys, there is one more news item on page 1. Now the news item refers as that pharma units are not operating at their optimum capacity, and guys, it will pose a problem into the times to come. Now guys, to hit a crisis we need two type of resources. One is physical and other is human, and the same is required during the COVID-19 also. Now the human resource refers to the doctors, nurses and frontline health officials, whereas the physical resource refers to the health infrastructure, that is the hospitals and the beds and the ICUs, ventilators, and the other hand we need the essential medicines. Now guys, if pharma unit will be into the crisis, then there will be the problem on this particular front. Now, why there are problems? First of all, because of the lockdown, port clearances are not being given. Now, guys, though India is the largest manufacturer of generic drugs, but still we depend on the import of active pharmaceutical ingredients from the countries such as China. Now, guys, into any tablet, the major bulk of that tablet is made by some particular basic salts, and those salts are called as API, and these salt came from China majorly. And now, as cargoes of API are struck into the port, we are facing the shortfall of raw material. Guys, after that, second problem is that movement of truck is restricted, and as their movement is not there, even the raw material which we can procure locally, those raw material are also not able to come, due to which industries are again not able to manufacture. Now, guys, after that, as lockdown has been imposed, the movement of employees have also been restricted, due to which pharmaceutical companies are facing a crunch of manpower also. Now, guys, these are the major problems due to which the problem is coming. And guys, due to all these particular issue, the industry is operating at just 20 to 30% of their actual capacity. Now, a question comes, what has been done by the government in this particular direction? So government has also taken some various initiatives. For example, Department of Pharmaceutical is coordinating with the Ministry of Civil Aviation so that raw material could be brought as early as possible. Moreover, guys, the Department of Post and the Railways have also offered the pharmaceutical producers the services which are needed. And guys, if you want from my side, you can add one more point. Guys, what had happened recently, government had started the initiative of Kisan Rath, in which 5 lakh truck operators are being linked with the mandis and farmers. Now guys, in this particular direction, certain logistic operators and trucks should also be assigned to the pharmaceutical sector, so that their movement of raw material and finished goods is also not impacted. So guys, this was all about. Now we'll move to the next article. Friends, there is one more news item here on the page number 1. See, as the pandemic of COVID-19 is expanding, everybody is getting impacted. Now, the animals who have been living into the human settlements, they are majorly dependent on the humans to feed them. And as people are into the lockdown, they are not getting the food, but still there are certain people who are feeding them. Now guys, onto the morality and humanitarian grounds, it is a very good example of compassion, but there could be certain problems in this particular respect. We will understand that what could be the problem here. Now, friends, when this human being is feeding the banana to the monkey, it could be a possibility that the human could transmit the virus of SARS-CoV-2 also to the monkey, and then the monkey will be getting infected. Now, as monkey will be coming in interaction with other primates, they will also be infected with the COVID-19, and meanwhile passing from one animal to other, the entire virus will mutate itself. And guys, then there will be two possibilities. One, that this particular virus can become even more dangerous, and secondly, the thing is that though we will be successfully be able to eliminate the virus from the humans, but the animals will be becoming the permanent reservoirs of this particular virus. And from time to time, whenever there will be interaction between the human and animal, these viruses will be coming to the human, and the disease will not be able to be eliminated 100%. Therefore, it has been suggested that the distancing should be made with the animals. Now, guys, in this article, the studies have been used to show that actually primates can carry these viruses and can transmit to other species also. Now, guys, two of the primates have been mentioned into the studies which have been conducted. One is lion-tailed macaque and other is bonnet macaque. So, guys, lion-tailed macaque and bonnet macaque, first of all, both of them are endemic to South India, and lion-tailed macaque is majorly found into the Western Ghats. And with respect to IUCN status, lion-tailed macaque has been given the status of endangered, whereas bonnet macaque has been given the status of least concerned. So, guys, please remember these two species with respect to your prelims. Friends, there's a news item on page number 4, according to which the impact of COVID 19 is very much severe onto the sex workers also. Now, friends, first of all, according to ILO, that is International Labor Organization, involving into the sex trade is kind of an unclean kind of work, but still certain people have to depend on this trade, abiding to the compelling circumstances of society as well as economy. But still these people have rights, and now due to the pandemic of COVID-19, the sex workers are apprehensive about their livelihood. Now, guys, how we can use into this examination this particular development? Now it could be an opportunity by for the government, that government can bring these people out from this unclean kind of trade and they could be suitably rehabilitated, because as this industry will be going very much down, so now a window could be opened. By this, the people could be taken out of this particular thing. So here government can explore first of all. Now there is one more problem, that there are a majority of these people who are infected with HIV positive, and now as the lockdown is progressing, they are not able to access the medications. Guys, for HIV, antiretroviral therapy or ART therapy is given. Now these medications are available into the specific hospitals, and now as lockdown has been announced, they are not able to access the ART therapy, due to which they are facing a lot of problem. And many of the sex workers are on third line ART. Guys, third line ART is given when a person is not able to complete the first and the second line, or when the first and the second line fails. So these people are very much vulnerable right now on this particular aspect also. And apart from fighting with the COVID-19, government should also take steps to make sure that the supply of ART therapies to the sex workers is also ensured. So, guys, this was all about this article. Now we'll move to the next. Now, guys, we'll discuss the editorial. And the first editorial that has been given into the Hindu newspaper is the focus on the curve. Now, government has decided that the partial lockdown will be uplifted from the 20th of April. And guys, when the lockdown was announced last into the March, government hit a kind of a pause button, and it was assumed that a time will be gained, and into that particular time we will be able to flatten the curve. Now, though we have discussed flattening curve, but we'll see now what happens into the flattening of curve. It is a strategy as how countries can avoid their health systems to collapse. You can see that on the x-axis we have taken the time since the first case, and on the y-axis we have taken the number of cases. Now, friends, if the large number of cases come into very short duration of time, then you can see that these cases will breach our health system's capacity, and in that particular thing our health system will not be able to respond and we will collapse. But if the cases are scattered over a period of time, and if they come over a longer period of time, then what will happen? Our health system's capacity will not be breached, and the cases will lie below the capacity line, and we will be able to deal. Now, friends, how lockdown helps in flattening the curve? As we know, COVID 19 is a contagious infectious disease. And if lockdown will be imposed, less people will go out. And when they will not go out, they will not meet the other people and will not get the disease from the people who are infectious. Moreover, the people who are right now not showing the symptoms but have the virus in them, that is asymptomatic carriers. Now, they will also show their symptoms into the mean course of time when the lockdown will be extended, and then they could directly be shifted to the hospital where they could be quarantined and treated. If lockdown would not have been imposed, these asymptomatic carriers could have spread the disease to large many peoples, but now they were not able to do that. So guys, due to lockdown, a kind of a curve could be flattened. Now guys, in this particular direction, health ministry has said that the 48-hour cycle which ended on April 17 has registered a less number of cases. So government is saying that right now a kind of a curve could have been flattened and therefore relaxations could be given. Moreover, at the same time, the time taken for doubling up of the cases have also been increased. Therefore, there will be no exponential growth. Guys, you remember the exponential growth which we discussed 2 days ago? If you remember, then please write in two line that what do you mean by it. Fine. Now moving forward. Now the editorial says that we cannot conclude whether the curve has been flattened or not. Why? Because first of all, there is wide differences between the number of tests that is being conducted by the different states. For example, Delhi has now registered a high steep rise into the number of cases, particularly because Delhi had started to give more and more tests. Moreover, at the same time, the states such as Maharashtra is also seeing the spike into the number of cases again because they are testing more number of cases. So into their example, the curve has not been flattened. How we can say the curve has been flattened? At the same time, there are certain states which are not doing a large number of tests, but still they have the substantial number of cases. For example, West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh. And guys, when we are talking about more number of cases, then there could be a particular trend that large number of cases could be seen into either into the South Indian states or into the states which have a better socio-economic standards. Guys, with respect to South India, Kerala has been a successful story which have reduced the number of cases by the successful strategy of containing, testing and quarantining. Moreover, at the same time, we can see that there is a difference between the data given by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and ICMR, and often the data of Ministry of Health happens to register the lower number of cases. And according to the recent data by ICMR, there is a spike of nearly 2100 cases in only one day. So again, a question could be asked that how curve has flattened. So guys, the editorial says that in all this scenario, we should not be hopeful and should not declare that all the achievements have been made. Rather, government should become more vigilant, and the center as well as state should develop a better coordination to develop the strategies as how the case could be reduced. In this particular crisis, government should focus on more and more testing, containment and treatment of the people on one hand, and on the other hand they should focus as how the miseries and pain of the poor people, vulnerable people could be reduced. Now guys, apart from these, the pandemic has also shown that how our medical setup is grossly inadequate in dealing with the containment strategies, testing strategies, or dealing with the patient who have the respiratory problems, and likewise. And guys, the shortcoming of medical infrastructure is because government's failure to build the institutional capacity into them. And now guys, as the lockdown is coming to an end, we need to further increase our testing capabilities, because there could be a case that more number of cases could come, and all the agencies who are testing, their data should be shared, and from that particular data further contact tracing and other things should be built, and policy makers should use that particular data to formulate a dedicated response against COVID-19. Moreover, in this particular direction, we can learn certain valuable lessons from the HIV outbreak. Guys, once the people became hopeful that the treatment, diagnostics and recovery is possible, people themselves started coming forward for getting the test and to start their ART therapies. In this particular direction, government also need to sensitize the people as what is the importance of getting the test, and further stigma attached to COVID-19 and the hatred and kind of discrimination also needs to be removed so that people come forward deliberately. Moreover, as economic losses are also spiraling up, government should also take steps on that particular front so that people are also assured that there will be no economic loss and government will be coming forward to help them. Guys, only if all these things will be done, then only we will be able to flatten the curve. So guys, this was all about this. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, there's an editorial which talks as what is the relevance of social vaccine along with the physical vaccine. So let's discuss it. Now, friends, as time is passing, the fatalities are increasing. Though it has been said that the COVID 19 has a fatality rate of 2 to 3%, but so many people are infected that even then 2 to 3% will also be a bigger amount. So, guys, when we talk about the treatment or the future of COVID 19, there are two type of viewpoints which could be seen. A group A people says that there could be the flattening of the curve as we had discussed earlier, and because of the flattening of the curve, the health systems will be able to recover and will be able to give a fight to the COVID 19. Other people say that if large number of cases will increase and will shoot up rapidly, then there will be a kind of a point that the people will be developing the herd immunity. Guys, herd immunity is a mechanism when so many people are infected that a kind of a immune response is developed, and in mean course of time the infection or the disease becomes less prevalent into the population. So these two kind of scenarios are expected with respect to the future of COVID-19. But guys, there are no compelling studies that whether India will be able to flatten the curve or not. Secondly, whether the herd immunity will be for a long period of time, or could be it acquired for very less period of time, and after some period the person will again be susceptible to the disease. We don't know. And at the same time, attempts are also being made to develop the vaccines, and various countries are doing their efforts on that front also. Now, all these things might give result or not, but there is one thing which can give the definite result, and that thing is the social vaccine. Now, guys, a social vaccine is a kind of a metaphor or a terminology which says that people themselves should adopt those kind of behaviors that they become very less susceptible to disease. For example, when we talk about social distancing, when we talk about maintaining hygiene, or when we talk about wearing masks into the crowded place or washing our hand, all these kind of behavioral changes are nothing but a kind of a social vaccine which will make us so much sensitized that we will not infect the disease altogether. And recently, the Minister of Health and Family Welfare had also talked about the efficacy of the social vaccine. And guys, when medical vaccine is doubtful or might be having certain limited effects, social vaccine can be a supplemental thing which could boost up our response. Now, guys, it has been said that the social vaccine will develop a kind of a behavioral change. Our attitude or our culture will become such that into the long period of time, this thing will be helpful. And this thing will supplement our existing information and education. And when both the two things will be mixed together, more compelling response could be built. And we can understand both these things by taking an example of HIV AIDS pandemic which occurred in 1980s. Now it is believed that HIV virus was originally a zoonotic virus. It means it originated into the animals. So it started from the monkeys. From monkeys it went to chimpanzees, and from chimpanzees it entered into the humans. And as early as 1920 in Africa, the infections of AIDS came into existence. But till 1981 it was not discovered on large scale, and when it was discovered, till 1985 even diagnostic kits were not available, so that we were not even in a condition to identify who's having the HIV AIDS, and vaccine was also not there. So if a person got HIV, it was a sure shot that a person will die. And in all this particular kind of thing, conspiracy theories, misinformation, unproven remedies, they kept on continuing, and the horror of HIV became very much rampant, and the health systems were not able to absorb such big kind of pressure which increased, and there were the systems were collapsing. At that particular point of time, only one thing could be used, that was the social vaccine. And guys, at this point of time it was realized that until people will not realize that what is the danger of having unsafe sexual intercourse, what is the danger of using the used syringes are, the people will not be safeguarded from this particular disease. So governments around the world, they started their broadcast into the print media, in through the personal contacts, counseling. People were educated and they were said that you should refrain from unprotected sexual activities, and the used syringes or the objects which might have came in contact of blood should be avoided. Therefore, a social campaign began, and in this direction, two countries, particularly that is Uganda and Thailand, were highly successful, and they educated their people to such an extent that by observing the social protocols and by going for protected sex, these people reduced the occurrences of HIV/AIDS pandemic, and the curve was flattened for HIV, which we are now trying to do for the COVID 19. Now, if we take the lessons from HIV, then how we can use social vaccine into the COVID 19 pandemic? First of all, the punitive methods, for example, charging people for the fine and all these kind of thing might not be helpful. Therefore, the behavioral changes are needed to be brought, and publicly religious leaders, social activists, and the influencers should brought together, and they should sensitize people that what are the importance of wearing mask, washing hands, and maintaining a safe social distance. And guys, if this thing is done, then the half of the distance is already covered. And when the people will become responsible and when they will depict this kind of behavior, government could also be held responsible by these people, and government could be made much more accountable with respect to increasing up testing, meeting up the economic needs of the vulnerable, for providing the psychological support to the people who have been infected, because there happens to be a lot of stigma, lot of discrimination. Moreover, government also need to be made very much vigilant that they should not communalize the situation, which happened many a times earlier also. Moreover, the frontline workers should also be provided with the PPE suits and other equipments related to sanitation, transportation, and other essential services should be provided. And guys, the most important thing is that privacy and the dignity of people should not be compromised at any circumstance. So all these things will be coming only when the people will show their responsible behavior. Only then they will be able to make government accountable for all these things. And guys, in all this thing, government also needs to follow their role. They need to build trust, and in order to mitigate the crisis, they want that people should come forward and should adopt the social vaccine, which could eliminate the root cause and will help us to fight with the COVID 19. So guys, in this particular respect, the meaning of social vaccine, how it became fruitful into the HIV/AIDS, and how now it should be utilized, should be explored. So guys, this was all about this article. Now we'll move to the next. Now there is a news item on page number 10 which explores as what could be the implications on South Asian countries with respect to different verticals. Now first of all, it is being speculated that the SARC countries will be the worst impacted here because of high density of population and other related factors. Though till now South Asia has not shown the rampant increase into the cases which had been registered into the other world countries. Now first of all, World Bank had given an estimate for the growth rate of the South Asian countries. Earlier, the estimate was given to the tune of 6.3%, but now it has been reduced to 1.8 to 2.8%, which is a very big reduction into the growth prospects, given the fact that the region has one of the highest densities into the world. Now it is being said that the lower and the upper limits it will depend as how the developed countries are behaving. If developed countries go into much more pronounced recession, then our growth rate will also go down, and if their recovery is good, our growth rate could also be good. Now guys, if the developed countries will go down, that what will happen is that we will not be able to export to these countries from where major export earnings come. Secondly, countries such as India, they have a very big diaspora into these countries. They are working there and they are sending their remittances. Those remittances will not come here. Moreover, there will be less capital inflows such as FDI due to which investment in country will reduce, and due to this reduced investment there will be less employment generation, and likewise. However, when we talk about South Asian countries, the number of cases are very less. It is because of the response time which has been taken by the government. Government had imposed rapid lockdowns and partial lockdowns have been carried, due to which containment was effective and the cases did not spiraled up. However, the bigger challenge is economic, as the lockdown will be bringing its own economic costs, so government needs to boost up its response towards the economic front. Now, as large number of migrant people and marginal people they have left unemployed, government should provide them the welfare mechanisms. For example, they should be provided universal payment, they should be provided with the universal food allocation. Moreover, in order to boost up their employment capabilities, they could be used for other tasks. For example, they could make PPE for the government, then they could be used for the disinfection of the places, public places, then they could be used for other kind of assistive works by which they will get a meaningful employment. Moreover, due to this particular thing, a new kind of crisis will also be coming for India and the South Asian countries. That is the food crisis. Because as we are the most populous region into the world, and as lockdown has been imposed, due to which people have resorted to the panic buying, and because of this panic buying, further the supplies and the stocks have been gone down, and at the same time, supply chains are not functional, due to which again the scarcity of food is occurring. And guys, if this thing will continue, then the food inflation will also be coming, because of the less of the supply of the food, and all these things will be hampering the food security of the region, and a kind of a food crisis will come. So in this particular direction, it is essential that government should come with certain mechanisms, such as providing the strategic food grains to the people. Moreover, procurement should also be made by the government, so that they themselves have adequate supply of food grains. Guys, moreover, as I told you that onto the international front conditions are not good, there will be even a wave of reverse migration, when people will be coming from the western nations or wherever they are employed. For example, the Gulf countries, they will be coming back to India and other South Asian countries. So government should be ready to get that particular chunk of population and to re-employ them also in India. Now, when we talk about the sectors which are the worst impacted, then it is the tourism and the hospitality sector. Because now people will not be going for their trips due to the norms such as social distancing. However, countries such as Maldives could be into a better position, because of their segment of holiday is such that people live into very less densely populated locations. For example, their resorts and hotels are spread out into the large expanse, whereby people might not be coming in close vicinity, and therefore that tourism, or we can call as the safe tourism, will prosper, but other tourism will not be coming into a good shape into the times to come. So guys, these are the certain forecast which have been made by the economist Hans Timmer, who is chief economist at World Bank. So guys, this was all about. Now guys, after this there are no meaningful articles with respect to UPSC into the newspaper. So guys, we'll be winding up for the day. I hope you are liking our video. Thank you so much.